Hi, everybody. Welcome. So I'm going to try to keep this as brief as I can. I'm going to still try to hit about, 8 to 10 minutes in terms of an explanation because I know some people do like the nitty gritty details. At the end of the day, as many people have noticed, as many people at the end of the day have really found out, a bunch of reactions were redacted. Now, I want to clarify with any content creator on YouTube, any React channel, anyone on the platform, right? At the end of the day, if they want to redact a video, if they want to remove content, that is entirely within their power. Ideally, yes, you do keep up things as long as possible. You want to make sure that, hi, this is the video, the product that I am providing. But at the end of the day, if a creator, for any way, shape, or form, any reason, wants to remove content, remove videos, that is up to them and technically up to any sort of legal authority, collective agency, copyright claimant, etc., who has valid legal claim to the content, right? So with that out of the way, I wanted to explain a little bit, and hopefully this is the last time I have to explain because it gets really, it's one of those things like it's hard to get people on the same page because public speaking, right? I can make an announcement, but things end up falling through the cracks, but then you make like 5 announcements and then you just kind of wear people out, right? So hopefully this is a good consolidation point as well as the reasoning in regards to why I've removed a lot of these reactions. About 200-ish have been redacted, are just gone. I'm actually down to 1.4 from like 1.6. Like they're just gone. They've been removed from the platform. Mainly, unfortunately, it has been firearms content and it has also been fat electrician content. Now, to clarify, my sole reasoning, my big reasoning, is I'm just not doing good reactions. I feel that from an objective standpoint, I'm just not doing good reactions to them. His content's fine. Like he's doing numbers. He's an honestly super cool individual from everything I've seen of him. I'm not doing good reactions, and while you may disagree, my own subjective standards do. I can't do it. So, fat electrician reactions and firearms reactions as a whole have just been removed at this point. Tactic is gone, nuked, reduced to atoms. Thanos snapped. I don't like talking about firearms anymore. I really don't. It makes me physically sick to talk about them. I have had the firearms community justify the wildest things I have ever seen, such as we need to reward people, actively like reward, good job, pat on the back for people who don't break the four basic rules of firearm safety. I can't do it anymore, dude. No way. I'm more in line with the military philosophy, as I've heard, where you go to, you're at basic training, you're at boot camp, you go to the range, you mess up, someone's going to tackle you. That's my personal why I joined the firearms community. I can respect that other people don't like that, and that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to have your opinion. I myself will choose to just really not engage, and I will, seek out my own own perfection, own whatever, right? So Mike Burnfire, as well as I do have an email from him specifically. He seemed a little hesitant. I did email to Mike Burnfire a while back, a little hesitant of React content. And you know what? It's just, in my opinion, it's a little bit better to just say, you know what? I'll just step away. I don't want to tread on any toes, right? I'm not here to tread on any toes. The firearms community as well. I should have really known that I wasn't welcome when Forgotten Weapons copyright struck me, and everyone just kind of said, yeah, that's just you Forgotten Weapons. Do better, Fivehead. So, yeah, that content has been in mass just nuked from orbit. Probably to never return, if I'm being honest. I seek different things than what people want to watch on YouTube for that, as well as I'm trying to gear towards different things as well. Internet Historian's been amazing to watch. Russian Badger, despite the reactions, not really doing anything anymore because I feel I'm just doing bad Badger reacts. Pokemon, it's a consolidation effort as well. Now, while I can say that I don't do good jobs at reacting to the Fat Electricians content, I know a lot of people will have things to say about that. Your opinion is, you're allowed to have it, right? So I actually had a comment that I responded with that actually did kind of explain in greater detail my thought process behind it. So, verbatim, I purposely didn't make an announcement. This is in response to saying, someone saying they were frustrated that an announcement wasn't made. See back to when I said, you can make an announcement, but things end up falling below the cracks. It's literally impossible to get everyone on the same page, right? Point in case, Jaden Animation's LA video. How many people didn't know she lived in California, LA County, right? Point being, right? It's just impossible for everyone to be on the same page. That's just the reality of the sphere. I purposely didn't make an announcement because I already had someone harass my server, my Discord server, over a comment I made saying that I redacted all my Fat Electrician reactions. I've made sure to log the incident. That's actually why there was an announcement that I made in regards to. I clarified that I have a zero tolerance policy. I clarified that if threats are brought to the table, I will be contacting relevant law enforcement personnel. In this case, threats weren't alleged. The person was just hyper edgy. This is more so a clarification because it sucks that I have to even make something like this in 2025. Social etiquette dictates don't just if you don't like something, just go away, right? That's how that works. So that's the context on that. I have feedback that historically has told me that I make too many announcements, too many pings in the Discord server, and I'm incredibly negative. All things that I've received. The most common criticism I ever receive on reactions is that I pause and comment way too much, which that'll be a point in the part 3 of this, the actual like ending paragraph of this quote unquote. Yeah, so that's why I don't make as many Discord announcements anymore. That's why I try to make less community posts because, yeah, as it turns out, I yap a lot, and a lot of people don't like it. To which you would respond, "We'll just mute the server 5-head," or "Well, just don't watch it." You know, we've asked the same questions. I don't understand it. Maybe you have more insight to it than I do. So I choose not to publicize what I redact and remove. After seeing things the firearms community has tried to justify to me, I don't want anything to do with firearms anymore. Yeah, explained. I also don't feel my Fat Electrician reactions are good either. People don't want to watch me yap for an hour when other creators can add more insight and personality than I do just by adding 5 minutes to the runtime. Objective fact. I have objective metrics to prove this. I do. I literally have them still in YouTube Studios. They're redacted. I'm in a lose-lose situation. I either publicize that I take content down and people get upset, or I don't and people still get upset. I'm honestly burnt out and unsure why people have expectations of me when I don't even own excuse me, when it's not even content that I own. Objective fact, while you can argue I'm transformative, maybe I even pass the 4 pillars of fair use, I'd have to have somebody more familiar with copyright law really dive into that. And there's certain reactions where definitely I don't add enough, and I try to call those out and try to, critique myself on when I don't. Even if I pass the 4 pillars of fair use, at the end of the day, it's not my video, right? So that one is a little odd for reaction to someone else's content to go down. But social etiquette dictates that I'm in the wrong, even though it's technically not my content. That's been an interesting one to consider. They're just reactions that I don't add anything to. In my opinion, objective fact. So, well, that's a bit of an oxymoron. I feel that's objective fact. I just don't. There are a number of creators that you can react to, all with exponentially more metrics, views, engagement, better runtimes even, right? You'll have people doing it, videos in 39 minutes. Dragon Spit's able to condense a lot more information in, a few minutes that I did yapping for an hour and a half straight. To me personally, if I look at the Fat Electrician's videos, like a new one came out, or, if I look at a video and it's 30 minutes long, that's going to be 50 minutes easily. If it's going to be an hour long, right? I mean, this is going to be an hour and 40 from an hour and 6, right? That's if I am reacting to content, I must be pausing, I must be adding commentary. And from an objective standpoint, that's just not what people want. And that's fine. And if you're one of the people who say you wanted that type of content, that's fine. But, it's been 2 years. There needs to be greater comments and greater discussions regarding React content, but I'm too small to really say one way or the other. Everyone wants to complain about non-transformative React content. Everyone wants to say that, when people do it right for XYZ reasons, you got people saying that anyone who commits, does React content is someone in reality who would commit SA. Literal, objective, citable fact that somebody put that in a 14-page manifesto. Literally objective fact, which I've had argued. It's just one of those things where I've even had people come to my reactions and they've said that I've kind of ruined React, in a positive way, kind of ruined React content for them because they'll go over to someone else's stream, they add 5 minutes to a reaction, they say, hey, shouldn't we be pausing more? And then the community of that streamer just ends up kind of berating them because kind of just go, I don't know. What I do is a niche for all intents and purposes. And that's why, I have plans declaring, right, L5R status. I'm going to go assign my personality to that province, right? A podcast idea has been formed. It is currently in the works. It's just taking a little bit longer than I would like it to. And that's fine. There's just life things on everyone's side kind of going on right now. And I yap a lot. I have conversations. I sent my buddy, quite literally, a video in regards to modern education standards and why teachers are quitting. Just boring stuff I watch in my spare time, right? To which Teacher Buddy responds with like a 19-minute, like, eloquent, fluent, effectively essay on why these things are a thing, right? That's just how I talk, we talk. You can blame L5R for this. It all comes back to Legend of the Five Rings. It really does. So, but that's the third thing I alluded to. At the end of the day, we have reactors, and at the end of the day, whether they're adding content or not, that's really up to them. We have a surplus of reaction content, and honestly, it is a good thing in my opinion that I'm not one of the only people reacting to the Fat Electrician anymore, because he makes good work. He does good things, but with what I do, trying to add commentary, especially as someone who is not military, which once again, we want to talk about what authority do you have to react to this content? I don't. I'm not military. I'm not, British SAS. I'm not, Marine Corps. I'm not even reserve, right? Sure, I have one grandfather was in the Canadian military in World War II, I think Canadian Army specifically, fighting the European theater. Another one was a Marine who turned into a chaplain. Sure, I've been around military, but I myself am not military, nor will ever claim to be military, which unfortunately I have to clarify, because in what I do, there are people who have, sure, single digits, but they have claimed that, I'm trying to steal valor. So, come to your own educated conclusion on that. And at the end of the day, this should be taken with like the title says, for your own consideration. At the end of the day, if you want a bare bones, this is what this is. Why did you redact a bunch of content? Why will you continue to redact content? At the end of the day, if I don't think it's good, I retain the ability to remove it, right? The Fat Electrician content objectively just doesn't do well, and that's fine, right? People want to watch what they watch, right? 900,000 views for Shocked British Guy reacts to Fat Electrician, right? I can tell you the Iran Navy one specifically got like 150,000 views, but that's really the only one that seems to get any sort of traction, which means that the quality has just gone downhill over time as I've tried pausing, even tried consolidating pauses to after the sections. You know how he breaks it up into chapters? So chapter end, pause, comment, right? And I know for a fact people are skipping those. They're skipping my commentary. Twitch, for your consideration, have you considered just watching the original video? I feel like it's me being standoffish when I say that, and it's kind of my canned response, but understand why I say it, right? Your time is your time, okay? What is a job? What are commitments, right? In a macro sense. You are selling your time for pay, for compensation, right? Your time is precious. Why would you want to hate watch something? Why would you want to give metrics to something you don't agree with, especially if you just want to watch the original video? Or you want to watch somebody, insert VTuber here, who's going to be able to add more commentary than I do and be more lively than I am in a far less period of time, right? Now, I also have to, for full disclosure, right? I have email from CoffeeZilla, right? I cited it in the Discord server, where CoffeeZilla asks for the video not to be reacted in full. Big React channels still have reactions to CoffeeZilla videos in full. So for your consideration, what is fair to React channels? What is not fair to React channels? What is, what's fair? What's fair to the original creator? It's one of those things. If somebody wants to watch a video, if somebody wants to watch this, right? Sure. If you want to react to this, sure. I just ask that it's not a re-upload, and I think many other people do as well, right? Well, what constitutes a re-upload? You add thought, you add commentary. If it happens to be 5 minutes, it happens to be 5 minutes, right? But if you're pausing, and say you're pausing at this section, right? And you're like, well, actually, you have a good point about, fair use and copyright. You have fair, generally someone wants to make sure that if they're receiving a reaction, while not necessarily an old YouTube response video, right? You want to make sure that something is being added to the content, whether it, adheres, conforms, and passes the 4 pillars of fair use, period, right? That whole run-on sentence that I just said, right? That whole sentence right there, you have added to the content. And I think that's where L5R really comes into play here. I was privileged to be part of an amazing community, even if I was an Emperor Edition. I played Scorpion specifically, for those that know what L5R is. I played Scorpion and Emperor Edition, Law Darkness Dojo towards the end of the format. But like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a cognizance issue. I don't know if it's an entitlement issue. This is the email in question where I reached out to CoffeeZilla. Coffee Break responds, yes, of course you can. Thanks for asking. My only caveat is that you don't react to the whole thing. Just don't re-upload my video without you adding minimum commentary, which is incredibly fair, and I bring receipts for things like this. I've been critical of Terminal Montage because in their Q&A, I've literally cited, hey, they say, do not react to my content. Please report any reactions to their content. How many VTubers still continue to react to their content without them doing anything? So I've been critical on that. But for your consideration, coming back to that, right, circling back using the corporate jargon everyone hates, for your consideration, what's fair? What's reasonable? Yes, at the end of the day, absolutely. Everyone who continues to watch, whether it's Pokemon, I'm prepping for VGC this week, and I want to go build a VGC team against Saturday, right? Like, allows me to do things, and I'm glad to have conversations. Like, this is dream job status, to be able to just show up and talk about a thing, right? That's actual dream job status for me, and I want to thank everyone for, who comes on in or who continues to come on in, right? And I also want to clarify as well, look, I might be frustrated with firearms content, the firearms community as a whole right now, because I have just, the amount of stupidity I've seen is just, it's unmatched. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to compromise things that are fairly common sense, right? Like, for the military, just because I redact fat electrician reactions doesn't mean I think any less of the military, right? Just don't be an idiot, Fivehead. Or at least be the lovable idiot, right? Like, I think we all agree to that. Like, number of commentaries we've had, that's not me turning a 180 and completely doing the opposite, because I need to clarify that on the internet. Come to your own conclusion. I welcome commentary. This is one of those that, people should be talking about. We should be talking about React content, what's fair, and also taking the original creator into account. As far as I'm aware, the Fat Electrician doesn't care if you add 5 minutes or you add 2 hours of the reaction, right? Now, metrics will care, right? But that's dependent on the creator. You can have a creator like CoffeeZilla who very specifically says, hey, yes, you can absolutely react to my content, but make sure you're breaking it up. Make sure you're not using the whole runtime, right? Which is completely fair. Terminal Montage, literally in their Patreon, do not react to our content, right? So we need to make sure we're taking both sides into consideration. But I've yapped for long enough. I'm sorry. I definitely dragged this out to 17 minutes. I apologize. Hopefully this was good information. Hopefully this was information that clarified a bunch of things for people. And at the end of the day, as I said, I don't feel I did good reactions to the Fat Electrician's content. Objectively, metric standpoint, subjectively, I feel I can't really add a whole heck of a lot. So thank you for watching. Really do appreciate it. Come to your own educated conclusion. Whether you hate this, whether you like this, whether you're indifferent, whether you're apathetic, whether you're like, yeah, I guess that makes sense, just come to your own educated conclusion. That's all I've ever really said. Come to your own educated conclusion, treat your time with respect, make sure we're taking everything into account, right? Or as much as you can into account. Make sure you're just, being super legit, as we would say in the Idaho L5R circle. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Thank you for watching.